Africa is a land of many countries, towns, villages, and tribes. A land of varied customs, dress, and languages, therefore a land of many people. Come with me along Africa's west coast to Nigeria, on the Gulf of Guinea, where more pure Negroid people live than anywhere else in the world. Come to Ghana, where the Ashanti live. Long ago, the Ashanti came to this land from somewhere farther north, no one really knows where. They cleared and planted the earth and hunted the wild game of the forest. Among the Ashanti were fine artists and craftsmen, weavers, metalsmiths, wood carvers, and drum makers. They had their poets, singers, and storytellers. The storytellers passed on the legends of the migration of their ancestors, stories of their heroes, stories of how the world began and how certain customs came to be. Today, life among the Ashanti is changing, as life everywhere is changing. The king of Ashanti lives in a modern house and works in an office much like our president. But the old traditions and customs are not forgotten. Even today in the Ashanti villages, children gather at night to hear their favorite stories. Most are about the spider. The Ashanti tribe is said to have created the tales of Kwaku Ananse, a cunning spider who appears as Spider the animal or Spider the man. He is at the same time the wisest and most stupid of all creatures, sometimes a hero and sometimes a smart aleck whose schemes don't always work out. All tales are called Ananseum, in honor of the spider Ananse. But wait, come with me and hear how such a strange thing came to be. Listen, hear the storyteller's call. Come, 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 listen to the time when there were no stories on earth to hear. Come listen, listen and learn. Once, so they say, a long, long time ago, there were no stories on the earth to hear. All of the stories belonged to Niame. Niame was the sky god. He kept the stories in a golden box on his royal throne. Now Ananse, the Spider-Man, thought it would be nice to have some stories to tell. So he decided to visit the sky god, Niame. He spun a magic web and climbed up, 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 up into the sky until he reached the home of the sky god. When Niame, the sky god, heard what Ananse wanted, he laughed. He said to Ananse, "If you want my stories, there is a price you must pay. You must bring me Osebo, the leopard of the terrible teeth. And you must bring me Mboro, the hornet who stings like fire. And last of all, you must bring me Mwatia, the fairy whom men never see." Ananse bowed and said to Niame, "I shall gladly pay your price. I shall bring you Osebo, the leopard of the terrible teeth, Mboro, the hornet who stings like fire, and even Mwatia, the fairy whom men never see." Again the sky god laughed. He thought, "How can Ananse pay my price? He is a weak old man and is so small, so small, so small." Ananse left the sky god and began his journey back to earth to find the things that the sky god demanded. He climbed down, 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 down his web. The next day, Ananse was walking along a jungle path, and he came face to face with Osebo, the leopard of the terrible teeth. "Hello, Ananse," said the leopard. "You are just in time to be my lunch." Ananse said, "As for that, what will happen will happen. But first, why don't we play the binding game?"
Now the leopard, who liked to play games, asked, "How do you play this game?" "With vine ropes," explained Ananse. "I will tie you up foot to foot, then I will untie you, and then it's your turn, and you can tie me up." "Very well," growled the leopard. He planned to eat Ananse as soon as it was his turn to tie him up. So Ananse tied up the leopard, foot to foot to foot to foot, with the vine ropes. Then he said, "Now, Osebo, you are ready to meet the sky god." Ananse found a tall tree, and then he hung the leopard from a branch. The angry leopard watched as Ananse cut a banana leaf from a banana tree and filled a gourd with water. Ananse crept through the tall grass very softly, very softly, very softly, until he came to the nest of Mboro, the hornet who stings like fire. Ananse held the banana leaf over his head like an umbrella. He poured some of the water from the gourd over his own head. He poured the rest over the hornet's nest and cried, "It's raining! It's raining! It's raining! Would you like to fly into my gourd so that the rain will not tatter your wings?" "Thank you very much! Oh, thank you very much!" hummed the hornets and flew into the gourd. Ananse quickly put the stopper in the mouth of the gourd. "Now, Mboro, you are ready to meet the sky god," said Ananse, as he hung the gourd full of hornets on the tree next to the leopard. Next, Ananse carved a little wooden doll holding a bowl. He carefully covered the doll from top to bottom with sticky tree gum. Then he filled the doll's bowl with pounded yams. He set the little doll at the foot of a flamboyant tree where fairies like to dance. Ananse tied one end of a vine around the doll's head, and, holding the other end in his hand, he hid behind a bush. In a little while, Mwatia, the fairy whom men never see, came dancing, dancing, dancing to the foot of the flamboyant tree. There she saw the doll holding the bowl of yams. Mwatia said, "Little gum baby, I am hungry. May I eat some of your yams?" Ananse pulled the vine from his hiding place so that the doll seemed to nod its head. So the fairy took the bowl from the doll, and she ate all of the yams. "Thank you, little gum baby," said the fairy. But the doll did not answer. "Don't you answer when I thank you?" asked the angry fairy. Of course, the doll did not move. "Little gum baby, I'll slap your face unless you answer me," shouted the fairy. But the wooden doll remained silent. So the fairy slapped the doll. Pow! Her hand stuck to the doll's sticky cheek. "Let go of my hand or I'll slap you again!" Pow! She slapped the doll's face with her other hand. Now the fairy was stuck to the doll with both hands, and she was furious. Then she pushed against the doll with her feet, and they also stuck fast. Now Ananse came out of his hiding place. "You, Mwatia, are ready to meet the sky god." And he carried her to the tree where the leopard and the hornets were waiting. Then Ananse spun a web around the leopard, and around the hornets, and around the fairy. He spun and spun until he had them all in a bundle. Then he began to spin a web up to the sky. He pulled up his captives behind him and climbed and climbed and climbed his web to the home of the sky god, Niame. When he arrived, he placed the bundle at the feet of the sky god. Niame, god of the blue sky, here is the price for your stories, said Ananse as he bowed. Niame, the sky god, called together all the nobles of his court and said to them in a loud voice, "Hear see! Hear see! Little Ananse, the Spider-Man, he has paid me the price I asked for my stories. From this day on," proclaimed the happy sky god, "my stories belong to Ananse, the Spider-Man, and shall be called Spider Stories." "Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!" shouted the assembled nobles. Ananse the Spider-Man took the golden box of stories and climbed down, down, down his web back to the earth, to the people of his village. And when Ananse opened the box, all of the stories, including this one, scattered to all the four corners of the world.
Now we know why it is said that Ananse gave us all our stories. When Africans came to the New World as slaves or as free men, they brought along their Ananse tales. Sometimes the places and characters were changed, but the meanings of the stories remained the same. Today there are many stories about Ananse. They are told in Africa, the West Indies, in South and Central America, and of course in the United States. Ananse the Spider has several different names, and the stories may be called Ananse stories, or stories of Aunt Nancy, or Sister Nancy. Go, read. Read and share the tales of Ananse.